not scratch that B-movie itch. It is in the what the hell did I just watch category, and part of its charm is the fact that it's so bizarre. Adding to this film's bizarrity and mystique and enigma and whatever else you want to call it is the fact that when it was first released overseas, it went by the name Never Get Poop on Your Shoes. Yes, that's 100% true. Now, Dr. Otto wasn't going to stop with simply one movie. There were plans to have a sequel, and it was going to be called Dr. Otto and the Song of the Tarantula Women. However, plans would change after Touchstone Pictures, a subsidiary of Disney, bought the movie rights to the Ernest character and planned on doing an Ernest trilogy. Therefore, Dr. Otto and the Song of the Tarantula Women was altered to Ernest versus the Tarantula Women, which I'm very certain that would have been something to see. However, Touchstone Pictures did not like the idea, as it would be way too weird for them. And somehow, that's how we got Ernest Goes to Camp. Yeah, it's sort of hard to see how they arrived at that decision, but I guess it was a matter of compromise. Touchstone Pictures, being what they are, prefers more family-oriented material, and I'm sure Ernest versus the Tarantula Women wouldn't have been family-oriented. At least not on its face. I mean, come on, that title alone's a little suspect. But it does make you wonder what could have been and which movie you would have rather had. Oh well, it is what it is. Now, Dr. Otto and the Riddle of the Gloombeam, like any other cult classic, would achieve its real fame in its afterlife on VHS. It was first released, as I mentioned earlier, in 1986 by Know What I Mean Home Video. Who were they, you ask? Well, that's a good question. They were the exclusive, as in one and only VHS distributor of all pre-Touchstone Pictures Ernest material. They were the home video arm of Carden and Cherry Productions, the people behind the Ernest character. Though they were impactful, this home video distributor only lasted a few years and would dry up shortly after Touchstone Pictures acquired the rights to Ernest. They only had a couple of titles in their library, and those titles would be sold off to Good Times Home Video in 1990. They would eventually repackage and re-release all of those titles in 1992, including Dr. Otto and the Riddle of the Gloombeam. Out of these two distributions, the 1986 Know What I Mean Home Video one is the more rare, but they both can command some pretty high asking prices. But really, the same could be said for any Ernest VHS, especially pre-Touchstone Pictures releases. Dr. Otto, in and of himself, was a pretty interesting character, very distinct, and certainly was unique, but they really didn't do much else with him. He would pop in occasionally on the Hey Ernest Saturday morning television show, but that's really about it. I'm guessing, based on the costume's design, it was more than likely a production nightmare, which would be why they didn't do more with the character. Hey, I can understand that, and I certainly don't blame them, but it would have been interesting to see another Dr. Otto movie, hopefully one that was a little bit quicker paced. Perhaps we should have gotten another Dr. Otto movie instead of Ernest Rides Again, or any of the other post-Touchstone Pictures Ernest movies for that matter. As far as Jim Varney's arsenal of characters goes, Dr. Otto may not be as memorable as Ernest, but he certainly left his mark. He stands proudly amongst other 80s cult icons, and I'm really surprised there wasn't any merchandise for this character. And I'm even more surprised that Todd McFarlane never did a Dr. Otto figure for his movie Maniac series. Remember those? Sure you do, and Dr. Otto would have fit right in. Even though myself and many, many others consider Dr. Otto and the Riddle of the Gloombeam to be sort of a snooze fest, it did prove that Jim Varney has a bit of a bizarre and dark side. And at a time when Ernest was being pushed as a kid-friendly commercial character, Dr. Otto was in the background conjuring up some weird shit.
Watch the full episode here, as well as other classic Captain Adams VHS pirate ship adventures. And please hit subscribe.